Grace signed the closing documents on a quiet Tuesday afternoon in March. Her hand steady even though her heart beat fast beneath her blouse. She stood inside her new penthouse on the 42nd floor, staring at the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the Chicago skyline like a dream she finally touched. The Brazilian walnut floors shined under the bright lights, and the marble kitchen counters looked untouched, perfect. "It's mine," she whispered softly. No parents, no sister, no one knew she bought it. Grace had built this life alone, and keeping it secret felt safer than sharing it. At 33, Grace was proud of what she earned. She had spent 10 long years fighting her way up in pharmaceutical sales, from entry-level rep to regional director. She survived 14-hour days, weekend conferences, and late-night emails that never seemed to end. While others depended on luck or charm, Grace studied every product, built trust with doctors, and became the person everyone called when they needed real answers. But even with all she achieved, she understood why she hid the condo. Her family treated her success like an accident, and her sister Lily's failures like emergencies that needed rescuing. Growing up, Grace watched her parents shower Lily with praise for the smallest achievements. If Lily finally passed a driving test after failing 3 times, the whole house celebrated. But when Grace graduated with honors, her mother spent dinner talking about Lily's plans for the weekend. Later, when Grace earned her first promotion, her father sighed and said, "Maybe you can help your sister get a job. She needs support." Lily was now 29, still living at home, posting pictures online, and waiting for success to magically appear. Meanwhile, Grace had earned everything the long, hard way. Moving into the penthouse felt like stepping into a life Grace had spent years building brick by brick. She hired movers on Saturday and watched them carry in the expensive furniture she finally allowed herself to buy. A charcoal leather sofa, a glass dining table, and a custom mattress that cost more than her first car. She set up her office in the second bedroom with shelves, a clean desk, and a window view that stretched to the lake. Her building had a rooftop terrace, fitness center, meeting rooms, and a 24-hour concierge. For once, no one questioned her worth. 3 weeks later, her mother texted her, "Lunch on Sunday. 1 p.m. Don't be late." The timing felt strange, but Grace went anyway. When she arrived at the restaurant, her parents were already seated, dressed as if the day meant more than they admitted. Lily sat beside them, tapping her phone with shiny new nails. "Grace, sweetheart," her mother said, stretching out her arms. "We hardly see you anymore." Grace slid into her seat, replying, "Work has kept me busy." Her father cleared his throat. "We were just saying how proud we are of both our daughters." Lily smirked without looking up. They ordered lunch, but the conversation felt stiff, almost rehearsed, like everyone waited for someone else to speak first. Grace sipped her water and watched her parents exchange quiet looks. Her mother finally leaned forward. "Grace, we need to talk about something important." Grace placed her fork down slowly. "All right. What's going on?" Her mother took a deep breath. "We know about your apartment." Grace didn't move. She simply blinked once. "You mean my condominium," she corrected calmly. Her father added quickly, "Yes, that. You didn't tell us you were moving. We had to hear it from a neighbor's son." Grace kept her voice steady. "I didn't realize I needed permission to move." Her mother frowned, waving her hand dramatically. "It's not about permission. It's about family. Important things should be shared." Her father added, "It was embarrassing hearing it from someone else. A luxury condo downtown. That's big news." Grace sat straighter. "I wanted privacy. That's all." Lily finally glanced up from her phone. "Privacy? You? Seriously?" she muttered. Their mother shot her a weak warning look before turning back to Grace. "We're not angry. We're happy for you. But we also think it's time you helped the family." Grace felt her stomach tighten. What exactly does that mean? Her father cleared his throat, shifting into his firm discussion voice. "Your mother and I have been talking about Lily. She's ready to move out, but rent is too high and her influencer career is still growing." Grace raised a brow. Influencer. Lily rolled her eyes. I have almost 10,000 followers, Grace. Brands notice me. Her mother nodded eagerly. She just needs the right environment. And you, dear, have a perfect second bedroom that's doing nothing. Lily could stay with you for 6 months. Maybe a year. Grace stared at them, stunned by their boldness. The second bedroom is my office, she said firmly. You can work at the dining table, her mother replied quickly. Or even from your bedroom. You're flexible. Her father leaned in. It would only be until Lily stabilizes her income. It's for family. Grace looked straight at Lily, who wasn't even pretending to be grateful. She simply waited, expecting a yes. Grace felt years of old resentment boiling up. No, she said plainly. Her parents froze. Grace, her mother whispered sharply. Don't be selfish. Your sister needs you. Grace rose slowly from her chair, keeping her voice calm. Lily needs to support herself. She's 29. Her mother's face twisted. How dare you? After everything we've done for you. Grace met her eyes. You raised both of us. I just did the work you expected from me. Lily avoided responsibility because you let her. Lily slammed her phone down. You always think you're better than me. Grace replied quietly. No. I just think I'm responsible for my own life. She placed money on the table and walked toward the exit, leaving her family staring after her in disbelief. Grace stepped outside into the cool spring air, breathing deeply as if the world had finally opened around her. The restaurant doors closed behind her, muffling her mother's angry voice. She walked to her car with steady steps, refusing to look back. During the drive home, her hands tightened on the steering wheel as waves of emotion pushed through her. Anger, sadness, relief. Her family had always expected her to fix everything, to bend until she broke. Not this time. Inside her building's quiet parking garage, Grace felt the weight lift. This is my life, she whispered. My choice. Upstairs, Grace made tea and stood by her tall windows. The city glowed beneath her, steady and peaceful. She could almost picture her family still sitting in that restaurant, complaining, planning, deciding what she should do next, as if her life belonged to them. Her phone buzzed repeatedly. Messages from her mother accusing her of being heartless. Her father warning her she'd regret her actions. Lily posting vague quotes online about being betrayed. Grace muted every conversation. For the first time in years, her home felt quiet enough for her own thoughts. She wasn't going back to old patterns. The next few days were filled with non-stop messages. Her mother left dramatic voicemails about the importance of family. Her father sent long emails with examples of siblings helping each other. Lily posted sad selfies online hinting that someone close had abandoned her. Grace ignored it all and threw herself into work. Her company was launching a new heart medication, and she met with doctors, trained her team, and reviewed data late into the night. In that world she was respected. People listened. People valued her. It reminded her why she fought so hard for her success in the first place. 2 weeks later, Grace returned from a business dinner to find 3 missed calls from her mother and one final message. We're coming to your place tomorrow at 10 a.m. We need to talk properly. Grace stared at her phone, stunned by their boldness. No permission. No respect. No boundaries. Just an announcement. She sat on her sofa and considered her options. She could confront them, but that would mean another emotional battle. Or she could avoid them, but they would keep coming. They believed her life was theirs to manage. Grace realized something important. This wouldn't stop unless she stopped it. She opened her laptop and began researching security upgrades. Her building already had good systems, but she wanted something stronger, something that protected her unit specifically. The next morning, she met with the building's security director, a calm, serious man named Jordan. I need enhanced protection, she explained. My family plans to come here without my permission. Jordan didn't judge her. We can add biometric locks, facial recognition cameras, and restrict all access to approved visitors only. Grace nodded. Do it. She also contacted a private security firm with a rapid response team. If her boundaries weren't respected, consequences needed to follow. The final measure was the toughest. Grace filed a formal trespassing notice with the police department. The officer looked at her seriously. "Are you sure you want to do this? These are your family members." Grace lifted her chin. "I'm sure." The paperwork was clear. Her parents and Lily were not allowed to enter her home under any circumstances. If they tried, police were authorized to act immediately. Grace walked out of the station feeling strangely calm. She wasn't doing this to punish them. She was doing it to protect herself. For once, she was choosing her own safety over their expectations. The night before her family's announced visit, Grace tested every security feature. Cameras worked. Alerts synced to her smartwatch. Locks scanned perfectly. After checking everything twice, she packed an overnight bag and booked a room in a quiet hotel. Staying away wasn't running, it was strategy. She wanted the system to handle whatever happened. That night she slept lightly, waking often to check her phone even though she knew the alerts would wake her instantly. At 7 a.m., she dressed in her best suit for a big morning meeting. While her family tried breaking in, she would be presenting clinical data. Grace's presentation went smoothly. She stood before 12 doctors, speaking with confidence about trial results and treatment plans. But at 10:15 her smartwatch buzzed. Motion detected at front door. Grace kept her expression steady as more alerts came. Unsuccessful entry attempt. Alarm triggered. Security notified. She clicked to the next slide without missing a beat. By 11 the meeting ended. Grace slipped into the restroom and finally opened the footage. Her parents stood at her door, ringing the bell again and again. Lily leaned against the wall, bored. Then her mother pulled out a key. Grace's stomach dropped. Her mother tried the key twice. The lock flashed red both times. Her father took over, jiggling the key aggressively. Then he tried sliding a credit card in the doorframe. "This is ridiculous," he snapped. "She must have changed the locks," Lily muttered. "Or maybe she's at work like normal people." But her parents ignored her. Grace watched in disbelief as her father called a locksmith friend named Dan. When Dan arrived and realized the condo wasn't theirs, he backed away instantly. "I can't touch this," he said. "This could get me arrested." Her parents grew more irritated and desperate. Building security arrived next. Jordan approached them politely. "Is there a problem?" Grace's mother immediately put on a sweet smile. "Our daughter lives here. She must be having issues with her lock." Jordan shook his head. "Ms. Grace hasn't approved any visitors today." Her father bristled. "We're her parents." Jordan remained calm. "And this is private property. You need to leave." Her mother refused. "Absolutely not. We have every right to be here." Jordan quietly radioed for backup. Within minutes, 2 more guards appeared. Grace watched the scene unfold, her heart pounding, knowing this was only the beginning. As Jordan repeated his warning, Grace's mother suddenly stepped forward and began pounding on the door with both fists. "Grace, open this door right now. This is your mother." Her shouts echoed through the hallway, drawing neighbors from their units. Lily finally looked embarrassed and whispered, "Mom, stop. This is crazy." But her mother didn't stop. She kept pounding, kept yelling, insisting she had a right to be there. Jordan called the police. Grace watched from the restroom, feeling a strange mix of anger and heartbreak. Her family wasn't just crossing boundaries anymore. They were destroying them completely. When the police officers arrived, the energy in the hallway shifted instantly. Grace's mother froze mid-shout as the officers approached. One officer, a calm woman with sharp eyes, asked, "What seems to be the issue?" Jordan explained everything clearly. The attempted break-in, the refusal to leave, the trespassing notice on file. Grace's father tried to interrupt. "We're her parents. We don't need permission." The officer shook her head. "That's not how property law works. You don't live here. You were told to leave." That means you're trespassing. Her mother looked around at the neighbors as if expecting sympathy. No one spoke. The second officer checked the system and confirmed the trespassing notice with their names on it. You were legally warned, he said. You are not allowed here. Grace watched as color drained from her mother's face. This is outrageous, her mother cried. Our own daughter had us banned. The officer repeated. You need to leave or you will be arrested. Grace's father clenched his jaw. This is a family matter. You shouldn't be involved. The officer's tone hardened. Sir, we are involved because the homeowner requested protection. This is your final warning. But her mother crossed her arms defiantly. I'm not leaving. Grace's mother shouted. Not until she comes out and explains herself. Grace saw her father try to pull her away, but she jerked her arm free. We raised her. We have rights. The female officer stepped forward. Ma'am, you have the right to remain silent. Grace's eyes widened. Her mother was actually being arrested. Her father panicked and stepped between them. Leave her alone. She's not a criminal. The male officer warned him. Sir, step back. He didn't. Moments later, the officers moved with trained precision. Her mother was cuffed, and her father was taken to the ground. Lily stood frozen, staring as both parents were handcuffed. Her mother sobbed loudly, blaming Grace for everything. She's destroying our family, she wailed. Her father stayed quiet, humiliated. Lily, call our lawyer, her mother shouted. Lily whispered helplessly. We don't have a lawyer. Then her mother screeched. Call your sister. Make her fix this. Grace felt tears sting her eyes. Even in handcuffs, her mother expected her to swoop in and save them from consequences they created. The officers led her parents toward the elevator. Her mother shot one last furious look at the camera. I hope you're happy, Grace. As the elevator doors closed, the hallway grew silent. Lily stayed pressed against the wall, her eyes red. Jordan walked toward her gently. Miss, you need to leave too. Lily nodded weakly. I know. I just need a minute. She wiped her face with her sleeve and finally looked straight into the camera. Straight at Grace. I didn't want this, she whispered. They kept pushing you. And you kept giving in. I guess they thought you always would. Then she shook her head slowly. We all thought that. She walked to the elevator without another word, disappearing from view. Grace closed her phone and leaned against the restroom wall, trembling. She had finally won. Her boundaries had held. Her parents would face charges. But instead of triumph, she felt a deep, hollow ache. It was like watching a bridge burn that she'd spent her whole life trying to cross. When she returned home later that afternoon, the hallway looked normal, as if the chaos never happened. Inside, her condo was untouched, peaceful, safe. Grace played the footage again on her television. Every shout, every attempt to force their way in, every refusal to respect her no. It was undeniable. Messages poured in from extended family. How could you do this to your parents? Your mother is devastated. Family is everything. Grace sighed and replied with one simple message to everyone. I bought a home with money I earned. They attempted to enter without permission, refused to leave when asked by security and police, and broke the law. If anyone wants to see the security footage, I can send it. She attached a 20-second clip of her parents trying to force the door. Then she muted them all. She cooked dinner quietly, feeling the weight of the truth settling in. Days passed and something surprising happened. Relatives who were furious at first slowly changed their tone after watching the video. Aunt Rachel called to apologize. Your mother didn't tell us she tried to break in, she admitted. I'm sorry I judged you. Others admitted they had believed the wrong story. A few still defended her parents, but Grace blocked them and moved on. Without family drama draining her energy, she found herself excelling at work. Her confidence returned. She felt lighter, clearer. For once, she wasn't carrying responsibilities that weren't hers to carry. Her company soon noticed the difference. Grace's supervisor called her into a meeting. "Your leadership has been exceptional lately," he said. "We're considering you for senior director." Grace nodded, grateful but steady. She also met with her financial advisor, planning long-term investments and reinforcing her independence. For the first time, she could think about her future without worrying about someone dragging her backward. Yet she knew the story with her family wasn't over. Their court date was approaching, and whatever happened next would force her to decide how much, if anything, she wanted them to still be part of her life. 3 days before the court date, Grace's phone rang. Her mother's name appeared. For a moment, Grace almost ignored it, but curiosity made her answer. Her mother's voice sounded smaller than she had ever heard. "Grace, the lawyer says we're going to be convicted. There's too much evidence." Grace listened silently. "Your father will lose his volunteer position," her mother continued. "I'll lose my board membership. We'll be criminals." Grace spoke calmly. "Because you committed a crime." Her mother protested. "It was just about family." Grace replied. "Breaking into someone's home is not family. It's trespassing." Her mother was quiet for a long moment. Then she whispered, "What do you want from us?" Grace almost laughed at the question. They still thought she controlled the outcome. "I want you to accept responsibility," she said. "I want you to understand that I'm not a resource you can use. You created this situation." Her mother let out a broken sound, something between a sob and disbelief. "You've become so cold." Grace answered softly, "No, I've become healthy. The daughter willing to sacrifice herself for everyone else doesn't exist anymore." She ended the call before tears could fall. On Thursday morning, Grace sat in her office as the court hearing took place. She didn't attend. There was nothing left for her to say. Later, Lily texted her. "Guilty on all counts. 6 months probation. $500 fine each. Community service." "They're crushed." Grace read the message without joy or guilt. It simply was what it was. Lily sent another text. "They want to talk to you." Grace called her. "Do they understand what they did?" she asked. Lily sighed. "I think they do now." Court was rough. The lawyer didn't sugarcoat anything. They know it's real. After thinking for a moment, Grace said, "Tell them I'll meet them in a public place. 1 hour. You'll be there too. If they try to guilt-trip me or make demands, I'm leaving." Lily agreed. 4 days later, they met at a quiet cafe near the Botanical Gardens. Grace arrived early, choosing a seat where she could see the entrance. Her parents walked in together, looking older, smaller, as if the weight of consequences had settled into their bones. Lily joined them last, sliding into the seat beside Grace, a silent message about where she stood. Her father began, "Thank you for meeting us. We know you didn't have to." Grace folded her hands. "You have 1 hour." Her mother's voice trembled as she spoke. "We've been in therapy, required by the court, but we've been going even more than necessary." Grace raised an eyebrow. Her father continued, "The therapist helped us see that we turned you into a second parent for Lily, that we let her depend on you instead of teaching her responsibility." Her mother nodded. "We treated your success like something we had the right to manage, not something you earned." Grace listened quietly as her mother went on. "We prioritized Lily's comfort over your boundaries. We expected you to fix everything. And that wasn't fair." Her father added, "We understand now that forcing our way into your home, no matter the reason, was wrong." Lily finally spoke. "They've been in therapy with me too. I'm working on my own issues. All the avoiding, the depending, the pretending. It's been a lot." Grace studied their faces. For the first time in her life, they looked like people willing to change, not people demanding forgiveness. Still, words meant nothing without consistency. "I need time," Grace said firmly. "Real change takes more than a few therapy sessions. I'm willing to talk to you occasionally, but boundaries will stay in place. My home is off limits. My finances are mine. My life is mine." Her parents nodded quickly. Her father said, "We understand completely." Her mother swallowed hard. "We hope someday we can rebuild something better. But only if you allow it." Grace nodded once. "We'll see." When the hour ended, she stood, thanked them for meeting peacefully, and left with Lily. There were no hugs, but there was no shouting either. 6 months passed before Grace met them again. During that time, she watched from a distance as her parents followed through on therapy, community service, and lifestyle changes. They stopped making demands. They stopped asking for favors. They focused on fixing themselves instead of controlling her. Lily moved out of their basement and into a small apartment with a roommate. She got an entry-level job at a marketing firm and took responsibility for her own bills. Her online posts became real instead of curated fantasies. She was finally creating a life of her own. Slowly, imperfectly, but honestly. Grace continued to thrive. She earned a promotion to senior director, then later became vice president for the Midwest region. She bought a small lake house in Wisconsin where she spent quiet weekends reading and kayaking. She maintained polite, limited contact with her parents, lunch every few months, short phone calls, simple conversations. They respected her boundaries without question. When her father once mentioned Lily struggling with a car payment, her mother quickly changed the subject, a sign of true growth. Grace appreciated the change but never let her guard drop completely. Some boundaries, she knew, must remain permanent. 5 years later, Grace stood by her floor-to-ceiling windows, watching Chicago shine beneath the evening sky. Her condo remained her sanctuary, the space she fought to protect. She no longer wondered whether she had done the right thing. She knew she had. Her parents lived quieter lives in a smaller neighborhood. Their reputations never fully recovered, and that was fair. Actions had consequences. Grace placed her hand on the cool glass and smiled softly. Sometimes revenge wasn't loud or dramatic. Sometimes it was simply refusing to accept less than you deserved. Her no had finally been heard, and honored forever.